Well, welcome to the Living Your Life by Design podcast. We are Bob. No, I'm not Bob. This is Bob and Michelle Cavender from Life by Design. And we have a very special guest today. And her name is Sharon Stevens Evans. The movie Ordinary Angels was just released and has gone global. Let's take a look at a trailer from the movie.
Dad, I have a situation. I want to look pretty for Mommy.
Well, maybe just a little off the cheeks.
Something about that little girl without a mom. Sick. I think I'm supposed to help. How did it become your responsibility to save her? Because I'm here? Because I can.
Sharon was an ordinary hairdresser who allowed herself to be used by God to be an ordinary angel. And she was played by Hilary Swank in the movie Ordinary Angels. Today, we're going to meet the real Sharon Stevens Evans. So welcome, Sharon, to the podcast. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor. I appreciate the recognition that you're taking part of with me and understanding where my heart comes from. Of course, it's God. And that is a big part of what I want to get out there, that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit can do for you. And I'm just an ordinary person that has obeyed. And I'm overwhelmed at the opportunity to show how it works.
That's great. Well, we've seen the movie and we've read the book and discovered there are some differences between the movie and the book. So we can get to know you a little bit better. Can you share some of those differences and what you'd like the viewers to know?
Well, the book is sort of like two books in one book. Yeah. And there are differences. We did have to make one major adjustment and do something through me that was not accurate, but I wanted it addressed about alcoholism or behavior around children. To me, children are the closest thing to divine on this earth. And I found myself, due to my own life, becoming an activist for children. And issues that I address are to make awareness. It's not to judge. It's not to be harmful or hurtful. I'm not saying do and don't. I don't have that right. But awareness of the effects that alcohol has to do pertaining to children is a very big issue. And in real life, I have never been a drinker, but my mother was. And I hate to think of it as being thought of as a liar. I prefer to think of it as being an adjustment to get a message out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's so well done in the movie. So well done.
They did a beautiful job of it. And it's touching a lot of people. The book has a lot of messages in it for a lot of different issues. And I don't think anybody that would sit down and read the book would not relate to something in there.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. I love how the book also has a lot of resources, ways to get help. Yes. I think that was just fabulous because there are many people that will read that perhaps might not go look up a book about X, Y, and Z, whatever the ism is, right? But the book has it in there available. And so the prayer for me is that people will actually use those resources. And I'm sure that's why you put it in there.
Well, a lot of people would not know how to even begin to look it up and be able to help themselves.
Sure. Thank you, Sharon.
Well, in the movie, there were a lot of topics that were raised in the movie. And like you said, alcoholism was one. Being an organ donor was a major one as well. And what have you seen take place since the movie has been released?
There is a lot of awareness of the need of organs. In Michelle's instance, she had to wait almost 3 years, and the suffering that these children go through, or adults, or whatever, what they go through is it's overwhelming. What the families go through. And here in Louisville, I've had the pleasure of meeting Shelley Snyder, who is over CODA, Kentucky Organ Donors. And I love to help them in any way I can. I have just recently stepped out because I'm an activist against anything that'll harm a child. And human trafficking is something that I'm just now stepping out on. And when you sign your license to become an organ donor, you are devaluing a trafficked organ. They do it for money, but if they're not going to make that much money selling a murdered trafficked person, it will stop it. That's my new move. Wow. And it's a little hard to mix sweet and sour. You know, I mean, Ordinary Angels is a beautiful story. It's all true. It's amazing the movement that it's taken on in the world. And when you sign the back of your license, you are not saving one person, you may be saving two.
That's great.
Yeah, and mine is signed for that reason. Yep.
Can you tell us kind of what kind of went through your heart and your mind when you read the article in the paper that day?
Well, the first one I found, you need to know, I never read a newspaper. I never had time. I was very busy at what I did and raising children and long hours at work. And the first one was just heartbreaking that this family had this situation of one child already had her transplant, but she's still on medication that was outrageously expensive. And then they had a second child. And then I read the second story about 2 weeks later. And what are the odds of me walking into a store to get a soft drink to take to work with me and reading the second article about this when I don't read newspapers and it's laying there in front of me? That was a miracle in itself.
Absolutely.
And when I saw the second one where the mother died and the one child was pending her liver, I couldn't walk away from it. And I had personally gone through a near-death experience and had I was searching to understand the Holy Spirit because I knew exactly what it was, but I wanted more understanding. So I turned to church and read, and I was searching really hard. And I came back from that experience in wanting to help humanity do good. And when this happened, it was, I have to say, I had a calling. I couldn't walk away from it. It haunted me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. This went on for a few days. And I thought, I've got to meet this family. Well, the only way I knew how was to go to the funeral home and meet them. And I went in cold to a funeral that I did not know these people, and met the family. Everything's accurate in the movie and the book. And met them. And my intentions were to do a one-time only thing, but and that I did. But in that time, I found other needs that I knew how to help, and then I found more needs I needed to help. And I never left them. And it has developed into opening a miracle up on screen. That's how I feel about it. Each person pertaining to landscape, kingdom story, we've all been handpicked for this to happen. And you're seeing a miracle of it all. And I've got a big mouth, and I love to share. It's nice to have the knowledge that this is going on, but what good is it if I don't share it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Sharon, in the book, there's a chapter that you talk about turning points. What were some of the turning points in your life, and what impact did they have on you? I know there's a lot of them, so you don't have to go too far into it.
Yeah.
But share some of them with us, and what impact did they have on your life?
Well, I was adopted to alcoholics. And growing up, being taught to be a good girl, always tell the truth, don't do this and don't do that. And then finding out at 12 years old, you're not who you thought you were. That's what I found out in an ugly way, that I was adopted. It stripped my identity. I was losing faith in adults. I was held in. I didn't have friends. It was a big secret in the household. And growing up, I wondered, why are these things as they are? Why does my mom get mad at when I'm being a good girl? It was eating her mind up. As a matter of fact, she passed away by the time I was 21. And I sat and lived through her killing herself. And she was actually a beautiful hearted person. Everybody liked them, but she had a very hard time with me, venting. Whatever she was venting, I'm the one that got it. My mother and father were very devoted to one another, and you couldn't ask for anything better. I never saw them raise their voices at one another. They were a beautiful couple, but I guess I became active, and I became apparent to my mother very, very young, starting with helping her get her shoes and socks on in the morning. And as she got worse, the jobs got to be more. And other than cooking, she never allowed me to cook. I was messy. And so I got grounded from cooking. But other than that, I was a caretaker. So it was built into my foundation to want to take care of people.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for sharing that.
Having an ideal childhood, not having an ideal childhood, what do you think? Um, what do you think was the turning point for thinking you could do something extraordinary, or wasn't it extraordinary to you at the time of what you were going to do?
What I had the dying and coming back experience taught me some realness of the Holy Spirit. And in the search for trying to understand it, there were a lot of turning points. As I wrote the book, I did not realize that I was writing a miracle, exposing a miracle. It wasn't until I was about 3/4 of the book done that I realized what I had done. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then things during the campaign of keeping Michelle alive for almost 3 years to get to that point, the miracles I saw there. You could need something. And you think, oh, wow, how am I going to do this? And all of a sudden it appeared. In one instance, when I first got started, I needed a certain amount of money, and that exact amount of money came. No more, no less. And I was able to do that. There was too much of this happening to not look at it spiritually. And it brought me around to accepting it's all real, everything in my life, and so many turning points, so many. But it was mostly in growing stronger and stronger and stronger. And people started attaching to me. And the thing that I have to stress, I'm just an ordinary person. Yes, we call ourselves the ordinary angel, but I'm not an angel. We all are, if we allow ourselves to be. And my blessings are with the people that understand and trusted me to carry out God's will, even when I didn't know that's what I was doing. I mean, maybe other people saw what I didn't, but I had no problems throughout the entire campaign, keeping her alive, going through the event of rescue. It all went so smooth. That's a miracle in itself. Then a man named Rick Baker came, and he was interested in the story, and I gave him a manuscript of the book, and I said, well, here's the book. And he took it to Lionsgate, and he was devoted throughout because it took years to get it made and everything, and he stayed with it out of his belief. And I got to give him credit because he was the beginning of gathering the chosen people. John Gunn, the director, uh, uh, Kevin Downs, and Andy Irwin. It goes on and on. These are exact people uh, uh, that needed to be there. And um, it was amazing going through that with them. And uh, this whole thing has been handpicked and put together from God's will, more so than ours. And there was an incident that happened that John had a girl picked out to play us. She was an up and coming young lady, and uh, uh, he was all excited, and he contacted me and told me this is who we got. And I thought, good, he's got someone he likes. And a couple of weeks later, he called me so disappointed, so disappointed that she had a child that was having some issues and medically, and she couldn't do it. And he says, I don't know who we're going to get. And I told John, I said, John, anybody that touches this movie or this story, I said, God is going to put who he wants to in that spot. And a couple of weeks later, he called me all excited. Hilary Swank was really wanting the part. And of course, I love Hillary, always have. But I said, you see what I mean? I said, we're in God's hands. And that was a witness to him.
Definitely. Definitely.
You discovered you were doing something bigger than you. Did you have obstacles along the way?
Not really. It was God took it over. He provided everything. I mean, entirely. All I had to do was recognize what was in front of me. That's all I had to do. Or ask a question. It was all planted in my head. It's like when I do these interviews, I say my prayer before I sit down, and I let God have my tongue. I had a car accident about 9 years ago, and I had a stroke that got missed. It was picked up about 3 months later what had happened, and I had left frontal lobe injury. For 3.5 years, I was unable to read or write or know what I was in a room for.
Wow.
Oh my God.
They had me on about 20 medications, and all I did was sleep. And I knew I comprehended. It was like translating. As long as I understood the words, I knew what you're saying to me. But corresponding back was very difficult. Well, being who I am, doing things Sharon's way, I said, I'm getting rid of this medication, and I don't know one drug from another. So I worked off of everything. And it took me a few months to do it, but I did it to be careful, because some things you can't just stop. And I say I don't know one from another. So I just worked off of it all except my regular blood pressure and cholesterol medication. And that's all I take. And it still took a while. I think part of it was it takes years for the swelling of the brain to go down. That's some of it. And the determination to work through it, to take this responsibility on, to not be ashamed of it. And when my fault car hit me driving, I was
No.
parked at a stoplight
Oh,
and impacted at 60 miles an hour.
oh, my
Wow.
word.
Yeah. And
Sounds like a miracle you're alive, Sharon.
another miracle. I'm
Yeah.
here doing what I do with brain injury.
Yeah.
You know, uh,
Amazing.
I work a lot with vets that go through PTSD
Mm.
because I've been diagnosed with all of it, and I'm not going to cater to that. And uh, you got to make a decision to be responsible. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mm.
Uh, and a lot of people, they end up in fetal position in bed. And
Mm.
that's what I try to say. You don't have to go there.
Mm.
Some uh, uh, tend to want to fall into suicide. It
Mm.
doesn't have to be that way. You
Right.
know, in
Mhm.
my uh, uh, journey, uh, I've had fun with it a little bit. If I say something silly, I can say, I'm brain dead, and have a lot of fun about
Wow.
it. But, you don't have to go down a hole, you
Mm.
know,
Mhm.
stand up and be who you want to be. You can do that for yourself and the it's much easier if you got God in your life. I promise. I've learned
Yes.
that firsthand. And
Mhm.
uh, life is what it is. It's what you make it. Whether you have head injuries or no matter what your situation is, it's up to you.
Mhm.
And I stand pretty strong. And I've touched a lot of people long before the book or the movie. I've been doing this for several years, and uh, it seems like I've come out of retirement to go back to work. You know,
I'm not sure you ever did retire. You may have just changed callings. Um,
true, true.
yeah. Yeah.
You got
There's
repurposed.
uh,
You got repurposed.
yes, one after another. He's working me hard,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm loving it. But um,
Beautiful smile on your face when you say it.
oh, thank you. It comes from my heart.
Yes, that's very evident.
Now,
Very evident.
a lot of times people go through trauma and they get mad at God and they get stuck in their trauma. But you took your trauma and turned it into a testimony. Um, is there anything you would say to somebody who has gone through a lot in their life as far as how they can make a difference?
Take responsibility for it uh, and challenge it.
Mm.
Don't cave to it.
Mm.
Challenge it. You need think time. You need to research it. Uh, get into your own head and try to understand it. Research what your problem is. If you got an injury, research it. Know what is exactly wrong with you.
Mm.
Uh, and that way you can work with yourself, talk about it, share it, help
Mm.
others. You can heal each other.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
you're not alone. And most people that deal with this type of thing, uh, they feel alone. They feel different, and it does make you a little different. I am different, uh, but it's not a problem to me. I kind of like being a little different. I use it to my advantage, and
Mm.
you got to build your confidence up. And when you understand what you're dealing with, it makes it a little bit easier.
Mm.
But still, um, uh, when you let God take it over,
Mm.
it's almost invisible. I mean, I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing as testimony of what can happen if you take the bull by the horns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sharon, how and when were you aware that God was holding you, and even amidst the unbelievable uh, and sort of terrorizing childhood you had? Where did he fit into that, and how old were you? Tell us a little bit about how your faith as a younger girl, how that came into play for you.
When I was about 12 years old, when I found out I was adopted, I was stripped of my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I met my biological mother. And she was a Pentecostal, uh, uh, hardcore um, Christian, very spiritual. But I found her, unfortunately, to be a hypocrite too. So I'm crossed with, I'm a, the fire and brimstone teaching
Mm-hmm.
uh, scared me. It made me afraid not to believe. And that's the wrong reason to believe. And
Absolutely.
I was influenced by that, but she did plant the seed of spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, when I went through the dying and coming back experience, I realized how real it was. It was different than what she had taught me, but it was real.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a lot of spiritualism being exposed to her church that I believed. And they would speak in tongues, and it scared me at first. What's wrong with these people? You know. Later, I research everything, and you hear these things. Oh, uh, 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 people get overwhelmed, and even like the near death. Well, it's chemical things that you're hallucinating. This was no hallucination, and and
Yeah.
the ones there's a lot of people like me out here, and we just sit back, and I'm not going to challenge that. I know, and then
Mhm.
off of what people see me come through, then they know.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Thank you, Sharon. That's amazing.
What message would you share with someone who may not know their purpose, or they don't have the confidence that they can make a difference?
I find that a lot of people don't recognize things that are in front of them. Say a
Mm.
car swerves in front of you, and um, you almost get hit. Uh, who's to say that's not God involved in that, protecting you
Mm.
at that time? Those little things. Uh, I know when it happens to me, first thing I do is thank you, Jesus. You know,
Mm.
I am a Christian soldier.
Mm.
I don't call myself an angel. Uh, I get called a lot of things, and I try to stop people and let them know it's not me, it's Jesus.
Mm.
And uh, uh, good things happen to me because I recognize things and I step forward
Mm.
and address them.
Mhm.
And I would urge people to open their eyes
Mm.
and recognize the good things that happen in their lives more than bad things, because
Mm.
the good things are blessings. And sometimes, in my case, the bad things that I grew up with were blessings.
Mm.
I wouldn't have been developed to understand kids like I do,
Mm.
or uh, be challenging,
Mm.
uh, uh, or be stubborn, uh, to stand up.
Such a
You know,
good way. Yeah, in such a good way.
it's attitude,
Mm.
and pull someone out of a hole helps me. It's
Mm.
a blessing to me. So I get rewarded by another challenge to fix.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. We have our pastor, mine growing up especially, but we worked at a large church. He said we turning our hurts into what is it?
Halos.
Halos
And scars into
and
stars.
scars into stars. And you have done that and continue to do that.
I don't plan on stopping anywhere soon.
I love that. I love that.
My Jesus has a big sense of humor. And
Yes.
I have experienced some of the funniest things, And my son travels a lot with me, and I've let him be my manager, and he's so proud of that. And
Wonderful.
he's a joy, but he's experiencing through witness.
Mm.
He had 5 heart attacks in 3 days,
Oh,
and he's crossed over, but he was like me. I was late getting into um, spiritualism, and he was already raised and gone before I had a chance to do for him. So he's learning firsthand as we go through what we're going through. And
mm.
I will look over and or hear him say, "Oh, praise the Lord," and
Oh,
that takes my heart,
yes.
because that was an area due to unfortunate lack of spirituality much younger. I didn't grow up in it
Mm.
in the alcoholic home. It wasn't until 12, and I was, it's that story I've already told, but I have had things that I'm sorry I didn't do different,
Mm.
and that was one of them. But now he's being touched, and especially under his circumstances, uh,
Mm.
I'm blessed,
Mm.
and he is so excited with all this. It helps keep him well.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
You're blessed, but he is also to have you as his mom. He is very blessed. And it
And
sounds
he
like
tells that. He says that.
yes, I imagine he does. That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, the book is incredible. It's like you said, it's more than one story. And when you
One book.
open the book, you don't want to put it down.
Mm-hmm.
I
The first
know.
day I read 13 chapters of the book, and the second day I read the rest.
And I was saying, when do
So
I get the book?
I hear that a lot. I mean, 90% of the time, I write small chapters so people can put it down if they're working, and it's less frustrating than stopping in the middle of a chapter.
Mhm.
So I write short chapters, and I'm working on a second book. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Um, I will not do another movie without John Gunn. He knows me,
That
and
goes on record.
uh, this team, I trust them with my life,
Mm.
and um, these are amazing people. I can't say high enough uh, of their spiritualism. You know,
Mm.
it has taken all of us to get this miracle out there on screen.
Yes.
It came off my book, and I feel good about it, but it was meant for all of us to produce it. And
Mm. Mm.
uh, I have to give credit that God picked the most perfect people in the world. I
Mm.
mean, you see what's happening with the book. I
Yes.
mean, it is a movement. It has created a movement, and
Mm.
I can't be proud. Pride uh, is something I try to stay away from, but I am honored to have them in my life.
Mhm.
We will be friends forever, and we help one another. It's like I'm a part of a team, you
Mm.
know, and really I'm nobody in any of that other than the friendship has bonded us with this story
Mm.
and the experience. I love sharing this because I'm going through things that most people would never dream. And my friends, and I'm drawing people that are having more fun
Mhm.
and learning from what's happening to me, and they're getting the experience.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Leslie Turner of Encouraged Books, who you've met, is
Mm.
um, she's been amazing at helping me piece my end together to be able to do all of this. And she was God sent to me. Uh,
Oh.
you know, there's so much going on behind the scenes that uh, aren't as interesting, maybe, but they are factual. That
Mm.
God is in all of our lives making this happen. And
Mhm.
we're all instruments. You
Yes.
know, this is bigger than one person. And
Mhm.
I got to be honest, this has been uh, put together by God. It's
Mhm.
His will, and we're carrying it out.
Mhm. Sure are. Wow.
The premiere you had, and that had to be quite an experience for you.
Mhm.
Can you share a little bit about your experience with the premiere? And then it's a two-part question, so I'll come back with a second question in
Okay.
a moment.
Mhm.
It was hilarious. We get there, I'm picked up at my door, and they take me to the airport. Uh, we ended up at the Langham Hotel, and it was first class, except I'd get lost. It was like a maze to get
Oh.
through. Derek, he'd have to take me home. Uh, it was like an Oriental modern design. It was a feel of its own, and it was just really interesting and beautiful. But they did decorated with mirrors, and you go to turn a corner, you'd walk into a wall. It was really funny,
Oh
and
dear.
uh, uh, we ended up uh, going to the premiere, and there was a time sitting in the lobby. Different ones. We kind of congregated for the limousines, and I I was the one that was treated like the movie star, and I got dubbed the real Sharon. And uh, when we got there, they had this big area that they put us in a line in an order they wanted us to go through the reporters and the photo shots and everything. And there was a gate, not a gate, it looked like a gate, but it was a big fence all around that would come just about to here on me. Well, maybe a little lower. But I saw these people out there, and they're just watching all the stars and just watching, but their faces were so blank. And
Mm.
I told my handler, I said, I gotta do this. And she says, what? I said, I'll show you. I broke out of the line, and
Hmm.
these people are layered 4 or 5 people back. And it's a
Oh.
long fence. And I went and shook every hand and hugged who I could all the way down the line. And
Oh.
this poor uh, a handler, she was, I can't believe you did that. I said, these are the people that care enough to stand in this code, and nobody's, uh, uh, you know, when I walked up, I said, I'm the real Sharon that this movie is about. I had them so fired up, and they were acknowledged Sharon's way.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. I'm so glad you did that. You
Well,
followed
the lady thought I was crazy.
but I bet you anything that affected her too. Just see your heart.
It warmed my heart. If it warms my heart, I know Jesus is loving it. You
Mm,
know, I do what I think the right thing to do is. I try to
mm,
practice this. Doesn't mean I'm always right, you know.
mm,
Uh, but uh, it's working for me, you know. Um, I think my judgment, I think he's trained me pretty well. You know, I just let him have me.
mm. That's wonderful. Wonderful.
The second part of that question is what's happening now with the movie? Can you give us an update and any story you'd like to share?
Well, I'm getting asked a lot of things. People wanting to know, is this going to be a run for Academy Awards, Oscars, or anything? And I have to say, I'm not at liberty, nor know in any way that of what they're doing. Um, these people, uh, Lionsgate and Kingdom Stories, both know their product and they know what they have. They don't have to prove to anybody. And well, it's very, very expensive, millions of dollars to do that. And whether or not they invest in that, I have no idea. I stay out of it. I don't ask questions uh, because it's none of my business. You know, that's just how I work with them. I stay in my own lane, and
Mm,
I do whatever they need me to do. And um, the talent is extraordinary.
mm,
Hillary and Alan, Tamala, and uh, uh, Miss Travis. I had problems with names. Uh, these people are incredible talent,
mm,
and uh, definitely would stand up there high if they were to compete for that.
mm,
Uh, like I started out with my book, I didn't know it was going to do this, but it could happen.
mm,
And I guess I've got that same feel with where this may go. Their values are in getting the message out much more than making money.
mhm,
And we're all sort of like that, you know.
mm,
Uh, we have a lot to say, and um, uh, we're going to be out here for a long time.
mm,
And follow up with this movement of goodness, you
mm.
know, and being examples, you
Yeah.
know.
For a lot of people, they say that the helicopter scene was the most touching scene of the movie. What was it like to be there and experience that?
Well, uh, I had in real life pre-arranged with corporate offices. I arranged a jet team for one or the other. Had no problems getting it. Getting four or five jets of the corporate in town. I did try to get uh, these pilots that do this. They go pick people up and take them to their destination, but they were all toward the west, and I only had 6 hours to get them there. It would take them
Mm,
6 hours to get to me, so I couldn't use them. That's when I
mm,
went to the jets. And
mm,
then when the mayor's office put me in touch with WHAS radio, General Garden sent a helicopter uh, uh, to us, but Jewish Hospital, their uh, helicopter swooped in and got them, and as long as we got them there, but that is how serious it got, and uh, I wasn't in real life shoveling the snow. I was. I went to the hangar to say goodbye to the children, which was 4 times the distance from the church. We
Oh,
went back roads. We took a shovel, and I was driving 70 or 80 miles an hour in that snow to push the snow. You couldn't see the wheels, so I had to shove the snow. It's a wonder I didn't burn my engine up. But I
yeah.
got there, didn't hurt the car. It was meant to be. And I got to say goodbye to the children.
Oh,
I was literally sitting inside the. They
oh.
invited me to go, but I didn't have my toothbrush.
You are so precious. Oh, my word. So precious. Sharon, what would be the main message that you would want people to walk away with from seeing the movie and or reading the book as we sort of wrap up our time together?
Okay. I would say don't be afraid to step up and do what you think's right. Even if it seems hard,
Mm,
trust in the Lord. It's going to happen. Don't be afraid. Don't
mm,
question it. Just do it.
mm. That's that's huge. That's huge. For our listeners, we want to invite them and encourage them to see the movie. It is a transformational film, truly. And also to read the book. If you go to amazon.com, you will find the book Ordinary Angels, written by Sharon Evans. And we encourage you to do both. The book is absolutely incredible, and the movie too. And bring friends that might not have a faith. It's a great way to introduce Jesus in a very gentle way to someone who is searching, or maybe they've slid back, and you want to put your arms around them. Take them to the movie. Take them to the movie. It will change their life.
It
So,
is a film that some of my best critics are men. And you wouldn't think that. I mean, everybody's falling all over it. But the men, uh, they're amazed and with this, and it is uh, it's a book and it's a movie that you after say the movie you go in and you see it, you come out feeling different.
mm,
I
mhm,
hear that a lot,
mhm,
and uh, hopefully it helps everybody. If I touch one person, I'm I got a blessing, and
mm.
so far I'm touching a whole lot of people, and
Yes, you are.
these are the blessings, and uh, uh, these children, these kids, and you know, uh, I'm all about doing anything I can uh, to help a child uh, in any way, um, that I'm capable of doing.
Mhm,
And the kids that are reaching out to me are it's amazing. Yeah.
mm,
Um, I had on my Facebook um, a picture of me and a little girl. And this little girl saw the movie. Her mother took her. The mother went to my church and knew the family. And uh, she went home and drew a picture after she saw the movie of
mm,
Sharon saving Michelle. And she writes on there, thank you, Sharon, for saving Michelle. And the mother brought me back, or brought her back to me the next day, and to the premiere that we brought both to Louisville and Southern Indiana. Uh, we had 3 premieres straight in a row, and uh, that touched my heart. That little girl, and that picture is going to be framed and put on my wall.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's breathtaking when these things happen. And things like that just keep coming at me, and I can't, there's no words for a lot of this. It's beyond words.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Well, if you get a chance, on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a website, www.ordinaryangels.movie. And you can find a trailer on there and a lot more information. There's even some resources from David Stone, the pastor of the church, that was talked about in the movie as well. So there's plenty of things that you can see on that website, and encourage you to visit it and tell others about it. Sharon, in a book by Bruce Wilkinson called "You Were Born for This," he talks about how God sends people on missions, and God is still doing miracles, but He needs people to deliver the miracles. You delivered this miracle, and you made a difference in one person's life, one family's life, and one community, and now it's being shared globally. And that was just by helping one person. And it's amazing how God took the ordinary and made it extraordinary and made it into a movie and also a book. And I just want to remind our people listening, God uses people to make a difference. And He's looking for ordinary people like you to know God and to make Him known by adding value to others. I want people to know that they matter to God and that they were born to make a difference, just like you were. And you have modeled that to us. You have given us the message for that. And you've given us the method as far as just obeying God. So it's been incredible. Thank you so much.
That's exactly how it works. I'm on the same page as he is. He's an ordinary angel to share what he's sharing.
Yes.
I'm finding them everywhere. There's so many of us. What you're doing, you're ordinary angels. And you're a part of this movement. Anybody touches the story, you're going to experience things.
Yes,
I promise.
Great.
Good things.
Absolutely. Like I said.
Well, if you haven't seen the movie Ordinary Angels, again, go to the website ordinaryangels.movie. And if you want to discover your purpose, go to lifebydesign.net, and we're there to help you. Sharon, thank you so much for your time and your message and your heart.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a blessing. You were a blessing to me.
You are a blessing. We're excited to see how God will continue to use you and your story. Very excited. And we're honored to be part of Little Tiny Spoke in the Wheel, to be praying for you as you continue this journey, Sharon.
You're on board now.
And happy to be. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.